Greetings, fellow classic TV fans, and welcome to Retro TV Trivia. I'm your host, Pat McCormack. On today's podcast, we have the honor of talking to a talented entertainer. Ilene Graff is probably best known as Marsha Owens on the classic TV sitcom Mr. Belvedere. A great actress, she complements this on stage, where she also excels as a Grammy-nominated singer. In addition to playing the role of Bob Uecker's wife on Mr. Belvedere, Ilene starred in 2 other series, several pilots, and guest starred on many episodic TV shows. We discuss her enjoyable years making Mr. Belvedere and the family that it created in real life. Also, we talk about Ilene's current project, making the song Your Own. This program teams her up with her ASCAP Award-winning composer husband, Ben Lanzarone. Together, they offer their knowledge to others of all backgrounds who have a love for music, leading students through a joyful workshop to make them better and more confident singers. We also discuss some of her upcoming performances for the holidays. Enjoy! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast an actress and singer whose smile could literally light up a city, the lovely Ilene Graff.
I'm sitting here smiling, lighting up Los Angeles.
I'm up on the Central Coast, and I think I can see it.
Nice thing to say. Thank you.
Well, you deserve it, because it's true.
Thank you.
Of course, you're most well known as Marsha Owens from Mr. Belvedere, which we'll talk about. But instead of the screen, it was really the stage where you got your initial start.
That is correct. Yes, I trained to be a theater performer and had a very nice Broadway career before shifting out to TV.
Right. I know there's a aspect to the triple threat. I was actually talking to George Chakiris last week.
George is a very humble man.
Very humble. And so my question to you, as I posed to him, is how do you consider yourself? Are you an actress who sings or a singer who acts?
Well, in my heart, although it didn't work out that way, I really consider myself a singer who somehow got into acting. But the reality is that I spent many more years earning a living as an actress than I did earning a living as a singer. So you can take that as you want. Singing was the thing that I did first. It was the thing that came most naturally to me. It's still the thing that I love so much. But I think that to be a singer these days, I mean, you need to have a record deal, a recording contract, or a concert career. So that's a different category of performer. And I when I was young, I thought that's the way it was going to happen. But Pat, you know, our business has its own way of doing things, and you go out on auditions and you just try to get a job. And the ones that happened were the ones that were acting and singing. So it sort of fell more in that direction.
Right. Well, and of course, what a great role to land as Sandy in the original Grease.
Well, you know, Grease was actually my second Broadway show. My first Broadway show was Burt Bacharach, Hal David, Neil Simon's production of Promises, Promises. That was the show I got right out of college. I was an understudy to the leading lady. I sang backups from the orchestra pit, and it was an excellent, excellent training ground for me. I also toured with the show in the role that I understudied on Broadway for 9 months, I guess it was. And then when I got back from the road, that's when I auditioned for Grease, and that was 2.5 really important and fun and wonderful years of my life.
Right. Well, and that's where you met your talented husband, too, correct?
Indeed. Indeed. You know, and Grease just had its 50th, believe it or not, 50th anniversary.
Right.
Of opening on Broadway. And there's a book that's out called Grease, Tell Me More, where we all tell stories about our Grease experiences. And we had a fantastic reunion party at Sardi's, very fancy, in New York. And the group is, there's still some really very strong friendships in that Grease group of people.
Well, any common experience that would be so spectacular just kind of forms a family.
Yeah, It does. It does. And, we were so young when we did the show. So for many of us, our Grease friends kind of supplanted our high school friends or our college friends. And we've stuck together in many ways much tighter than I have with my high school friends. College friends I'm still pretty tight with. But high school friends have kind of, I have lovely memories of them. But the Grease thing is, as you said, it's just special.
I was going to say, sorry, guys, high school doesn't match Broadway. Not me. I'm afraid not.
It's just a different category.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Broadway is literally bred into you. Your family, I know you have other family members that have had some success there too, correct?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in a show business family. My dad was a singer. He never worked on Broadway, but he was a very busy studio singer. He sang on a million jingles and backup on records and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But my youngest brother, Todd, is a Tony Award nominee. And, Tonys are like the Oscars of Broadway.
Yes.
So he was nominated for a Tony. And my cousin, Randy Graff, is a genuine certified Broadway star. She's been nominated several times for Tonys, and she won a Tony. And she just was in the new Billy Crystal musical on Broadway called Mr. Saturday Night. So she was in the original company of Les Mis on Broadway. So she really, she's really something. And our cousin Lori also was in Broadway shows, and she also did Grease. And my cousin Randy also did Grease. You can't avoid us, Pat. We're just everywhere.
I rest my case.
There you go.
You can't shoot an arrow up on Broadway without coming down on a graph.
Yeah, well, and my daughter also, she, my husband and our daughter, Nika Graff Lanzarone, is always also a Broadway performer. She was in 2 Broadway shows and has done lots of regional theater and tours. So, yeah, we count ourselves very lucky as a family because we don't have to explain ourselves to each other. I have so many friends who came from families that had no idea what to do with them. It's like, what do you mean you're talented and you want to do something? You're going to be a doctor, right? But in my family, it was like, oh yeah, all right. So you know how to sing. Great. Good for you. Now go get a job on Broadway. Oh, okay.
I know some people. I know some family members.
I know some people. If only it were that easy, right?
Just call your Uncle Tony. He's got plenty
right.
of them.
Let me and actually my husband, who's a composer and musical director and everything, he played my cousin Randy's audition for Grease. And he was musical director of Grease also. So yeah, it can be it can be a very small world within a pretty big business.
Yeah. Well, and it's great that you and your daughter, I've seen videos of you guys singing together, and she's got a strong voice, Ilene.
She's great. In fact, we are going to be doing, this is the first time I'm announcing this in public. Yay! Ooh. Yeah. Nika and I were invited by 54 Below, which is a wonderful club in New York, to be their Mother's Day show this year. So we're so excited. May the 14th, Nika and I will be at 54 Below for a brunch show and a dinner show celebrating Mother's Day. What could be better?
That's fitting. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's great because, usually there's some strain every now and then between mother-daughter, father-son relationships. And boy, you really don't see it when you guys are sitting together. It's a beautiful relationship. I'm assuming, show business can be one thing, but I'm assuming that's real life right there.
Yeah, we rarely talk about show business when we're together as a family, whether it's the cousins or the brother. It's not, we talk about family things, and we talk about the business when it pertains to our lives, and logistics. Like we're going to New York in a couple of weeks to do our holiday show. The Ilene Graff Holiday Show at 54 Below on December 28th. So there's a lot of, all right, Mom, when are you coming to town? When are we having dinner? What are we doing? Oh, right. And we're doing a show. Oh, okay. And then what are you doing after? So it takes its proper place, I think.
I see. So she's on the other coast.
Yes, she is.
Cover the bases.
I guess. Yes.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it that way because, you're operating with a 1-2 punch. It's New York or L.A., one or the other.
Yeah. That's one way to look at it. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New York, and New York, we still have a lot of family members there and very dear friends. So we do try to get back. Well, in the olden days, we would try to get back at least 3-4 times a year. And we're starting to pick up our travel back east. So I don't like to go too long without seeing her. I get very lonely for her.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, this is Retro TV Trivia, the title of the podcast. And, of course, that means we have to talk about Mr. Belvedere. We just do.
Well, of course.
It ran from 85 to 90 and 117 episodes.
For years, I understand there were several attempts at adapting the movies and the original source material into a TV series, and it didn't really happen successfully until our show. And it's great source material, and the movies are hilarious, and I'm so glad they finally made it happen.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, of course, as one of America's most beloved mothers, Marsha, what was one of your most beloved memories from working on the show?
I think it's just you always hear this from people who do long-running TV shows. It was like a family.
Right.
But when you're in a family show, you really do fall into that family experience. And that's my overriding memory of the show, was just being with the people. And sometimes we would all just sit on the couch and Bob Uecker would make us laugh. And what could be bad?
Exactly. And of course, Christopher Hewitt, he had his own Broadway background.
Yes. In fact, Christopher directed me in a musical in New York. So I'd known him for years before Mr. Belvedere. And when we saw each other I think it was the final audition for Network, and there we both were. And we said, we have to get this job. We just have to get this. I just want to hang out with you some more. And we were so delighted that we both got the job.
Yeah. Well, and of course, Mr. Uecker, coming from baseball, I'm thinking Broadway and baseball, they go together. Wait a minute. Is there a clash there?
Not at all. Bob, number one, is one of the smartest guys I know. His character that he plays is slightly less than intellectual, but he's smart and he's well read. He read the paper every day from cover to cover, knew everything that was going on in the world, and was one of the most respectful people I've ever worked with. When we first started, he'd had a lot of success on TV before our show, being on the Johnny Carson show, and he did so many commercials. So he really knew his way around. But he'd never done anything like our show. And he said from the first day to Christopher and me, you two are the vets. You're the actors. You really know what you're doing. So you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that was like so amazing for him to do that. And as an athlete, athletes like actors, we're kind of used to being told what to do, stand here, do that. Cross here, sit down on the chair there. They tell us an awful lot about what to do. And it's the same with athletes. They get coached constantly. So he was really amenable to our directors and writers. And he has a very strong sense of self. Don't get me wrong. But as somebody who was easy to work with, just as easy as they come.
Well, and the confidence level he must have had, you look at the odds of making it as a pro ball player, combined with the odds of making it as an actor, a comedian. You just keep adding to the list. And, the man could do it all. That's confidence.
He's a very special guy. And that's... like you say, it's apparent when you analyze his life and his career. He's just special, and it's just him. It's his personality. He is confident, and he's confident that he's going to succeed. And he was confident that we were going to succeed, that I was going to succeed, that the kids were going to do well. It's just who he is.
You got to believe, right?
Yeah, you got to believe.
And, you and your husband help build confidence in others, too. I was looking at your projects, specifically making the song Your Own and the Singer's Workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about about those?
Well, sure. Ben and I, one day we looked at each other and said, we have about 100 years worth of experience almost between us in show business. Don't you think we should share a little bit about what we know? So I started this class, coming on 10 years already, where we give singers a place to come and feel good about singing, to feel good about themselves, to learn more about performance skills. And Pat, a lot of my students are people with other careers, people who were music majors in school, or they were theater majors or whatever, and their show business aspirations didn't work out, and they went on to have different, very successful careers. But there was always something missing. I looked at you online, and I saw you had a guitar hanging on your wall. So you know how important music is to people. And when we don't have music in our lives, those of us who love music, there's an empty space inside. So we give them a place to come, to be together, to learn. And I'm very nice, but I do have standards. I do expect a certain level of work from my students. And we get together for a certain number of weeks. We work on songs, and then at the end, they get to do a showcase in a nightclub, and it's a wonderful experience all around.
Oh, sure. Well, you busted me. Yeah. I'm a 45-year musician. I've been at it for quite a while, and I've had some limited success, and just, it's the love of the music, really.
Absolutely. It's the love of the music. And I don't know about you, but for me, it doesn't have to just be Broadway show tunes. I mean, it's all music. I went to the opera last night and saw Tosca for I don't know how many times I've seen Tosca. And I was in tears once again because the music is so powerful. And I can feel that same way listening to a Broadway overture or listening to Linda Ronstadt or, whomever. If it's good, it just grabs you and nourishes you. And I wanted to bring that to people who didn't have that on a daily basis in their lives anymore.
Yeah. Well, and you can just tell by your demeanor that you are an excellent and compassionate teacher. I'm wondering, have you ever heard of a gal named Judy Davis?
The actress?
No, the singer, the vocal instructor. Now, she's from the Bay Area.
No, I haven't.
She'd worked with Sinatra. One of her big claims to fame was Barbra Streisand.
Oh, my gosh.
I can tell you, with the 2 years I was with her, it was the most astonishing. My class included the gals from En Vogue. She really, the record companies would send their singers to her to save their voices.
Well, that's really true. I mean, a lot of people, they get a record deal because, whatever reason they get a record deal. And then in order to sustain a career, I don't care who you are, you have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to work for 2 years. You're going to end up in the hospital with all sorts of vocal problems. I mean, it happens to the biggest stars because some of them are really well trained, but a lot of people get success very young before they've had the opportunity to train. Let me put it that way. Yeah. And to be with a good teacher who can teach you how to save your voice is invaluable.
Yeah, and I think this was back in the mid-'80s, and she was pushing 80 about that time, and a pure powerhouse. And her thing was that she blew her voice out. Because she was a prominent singer too, and she wrecked it. And at that point, she went, "Oh, okay, I got to get to the bottom of this." And she didn't need to have the voice to teach. She used to claim, no. "I can't sing a note, but I have ears like a donkey."
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. You don't. I mean, I'm not a voice teacher like Ms. Davis sounds like she was. I'm a coach. I'm like a performance coach. Voice teachers have a whole other education and a whole other way of working. And they are the ones who are so important in maintaining vocal health. And no, you don't have to be able to have your prime voice anymore, as long as you can communicate to someone else what they need to do. And it sounds to me that's what she was great at doing. So I'm glad you got the chance to study with a master teacher. That training is going to stay with you forever.
It has. And the thing is that it was the standards. She brought us modern dudes and gals in there and went, guess what? We're singing show tunes, folks. Mm-hmm. First of all, the lyrics matter more than the music. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You have to be a storyteller. Yeah.
And then, of course, was teaching us the phonetics. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And how to use the mouth as a sounding board. And you know what? That stuff was so ingrained into us, it'll never go away. I know what vowels can be held. And it's certainly not N.
Mr. Sinatra liked to hold on to some of those consonants, and it's really hard to explain to someone who loved. My husband actually toured with Sinatra, playing piano for him, and you can. When someone tries to copy someone like that with Sinatra holds that, or he does this different. We're getting in the weeds here with technique, Pat. I don't know if you want to do that.
I'm
when
loving
people
it.
are here to talk, they're here to hear about Mr. Belvedere. But but speaking of singing and Mr. Belvedere, I know you would be interested in this. We had Robert Goulet on as a guest a couple of times.
That man could sing.
He sang his face off. He was a wonderful, beautiful singer. And we got to do a couple of duets on the show. And it was such an exciting experience to be able to sing with someone of that level of accomplishment, someone who sang so beautifully and someone who had such a great career. It was wonderful. It was just wonderful. And I was always grateful to our show, to Mr. Belvedere, for allowing, once they realized, no, she really can sing. No, she's not like somebody says, oh, yes, I sing. No, but I was really a singer. And they did. They gave me the opportunity, I think 3-4 times to actually sing on the show. And those episodes, of course, are among my absolute favorites.
Well, yes, I have classic TV fans, but let's face it, what they also are is Ilene Graff fans. And this is who you are, and this is what they want to hear about,
Oh, well, that's really sweet. I appreciate it so much.
It's true. I have such a respect for, people that can get in front of an audience, don't even need a microphone. If you can project... I swear I saw Pat Mahoney. He's a guy that sings for this band Train, who's also a Bay Area band. They're multi-platinum thing, and his mic failed on him. Oh. The PA went down, and he put the mic down and walked right out to the front of the stage and sang without a mic. And he's got it down.
He knew how to breathe, I bet. You got to know how to breathe in order to do that.
Breath.
Years ago, we went to Vegas to see Tony Bennett. And Tony Bennett, in a big Vegas showroom, and I think he does this at every show, he does a song without a mic. The whole thing is all very Tony Bennett, the way he sings. And then I wish I could remember what song it was. Let's pretend it was In Your Honor, I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was, but let's pretend. And he just comes, like you said, he comes down stage and he just sings without the mic. And it was so thrilling to see someone with that, as you brought up confidence before, with that confidence and all of that experience and that easygoing manner, just say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't say this, but it was, this is who I am, and this is what a career has led me to. I can sing without a mic in a huge Vegas showroom, and everybody's going to hear me. And it was so exciting. It was just wonderful.
Yeah. And again, that's a Broadway technique. These performers aren't walking around with mics in their hands. It's...
Well, nowadays, everybody is mic'd.
Right.
Everybody's mic'd. And, I think it's better because we don't have to sing loud all the time anymore. You can sing soft if you want. When I first started in Promises, on stage, we didn't have body mics, but there were mics all along the rim of the stage. And so you were blocked to be in front of a mic when you had to sing a song. And by the time we did Grease, and because it was Grease and it was rock and roll, whenever we had a song, we all had hand mics.
Right.
And then my third Broadway show, which was called I Love My Wife, which was Cy Coleman music, we were all body mic'd, and now everybody is body mic'd, and it's much easier on your voice. It's healthier because not everybody's Ethel Merman. Not everybody can, or an opera star who can sing to the rafters. We bring other qualities to the stage, not just those. So the technology has certainly aided the ability to have nuance on stage and different volume levels as a singer on stage, and to be able to sing in a healthier way, I think, for a lot of people.
Right. And I remember working with Judy. It was all about projection. If you're able to project properly and use the sounding board that is, your mouth, your upper palate, all the things that give you those vowels that you can hold. But even then, it was, that's the thing I carry away with me. I was never able to get that ability to vibrato. Hold the note, there's your note, and then add the vibrato. I could do it with a guitar, because to me, the guitar and the voice were virtually the same thing for me. My music was instrumental, and I sang with my single strings. And that technique I actually applied, which was play the note, add the vibrato. Don't just right into the vibrato. You're not Tiny Tim on the guitar. It's and it's so much more effective. It's the singing. It's the soul coming out in your performance. And I watched you, and you are really good at that.
Well, thank you. I've been doing it for a really long time, and the thing that fascinates me is how it never gets less interesting to me. Like we're practicing right now for the holiday show, the December 28th holiday show in New York, and we practice almost every day. And every time I sing the show, I enjoy, number one, I enjoy doing the show, but I enjoy so much the physicality of the singing. And I keep learning, this placement of this note, that's a better place to put that note, or that's a better place, as you said, to add the vibrato. And it's a lifelong study, and one that is extremely satisfying and sometimes very challenging, but never less than interesting.
Right. And you got to do sit-ups, folks. Or at least work that diaphragm, because that's where that's coming from.
I tell you, got to be telling my students, you got to be strong in the middle, Strong.
So the holiday show, you guys are paying tribute to holiday classics, and it gets a little deeper than that. Can you kind of give us a hint on what the program is based on?
Oh, sure. When I was a kid growing up, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and the 70s I was already doing Broadway shows. But those holiday specials of the 1960s were such a moment of togetherness for families, and we realized, we used to actually watch those shows together, and families did all across America. And like I say in my show, whether you loved Bing Crosby or the Carpenters, and my absolute favorite, no question, Andy Williams, those Andy Williams holiday specials, I think were perfect. We sort of wanted to create that holiday special feeling. And so there's holiday music, and there's some songs that aren't holiday songs, and and I like to treat my audience to treats, so everybody gets candy, and dreidels and noisemakers, and we try to make it feel like you're at our house and we're doing a special just for you. I want my guests to feel welcome and at home, and just there to enjoy the special songs of the season. Yeah,
and it's true. Even the kids' specials, the Rankin and Bass stuff that would come out, those were just stop motion, which they were pretty amazing for. But there was always incredible music, even songs that became Christmas classics.
Yeah. I mean, we do Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and we have a wonderful medley of a whole bunch of Christmas songs that we put together. It's breakneck speed. There's lots of songs, all really energetic. We do some lovely holiday ballads. And there's some comedy songs. One of my favorites is called "It's Hard to Be a Jew on Christmas," which was from South Park, that my daughter is going to be singing. And so and I've got a couple of wonderful guests. Did you ever watch Orange is the New Black or Aquafina is Nora from Queens? My good friend Lori Tan Shin, who became like this TV star over the past few years. We met doing South Pacific in Australia. We did an ABC movie of South Pacific, and that's where we met like 20 years ago. And it's been so much fun for me to watch her become a TV star. So she's going to be one of my guests, and she's singing Bally High, which was her big number from South Pacific. And my daughter's a special guest, and my bass player, who I've known all my life, all my career, his name is John Miller, and people recognize him all over the place. He was on a show called Mozart in the Jungle, which was about the classical music world, and I forget what it was on. I don't remember what channel it was on, but it's so funny. Again, this guy, he's a musical coordinator, something you would be interested in learning about his job. He hires the bands for Broadway shows. So he's been in charge of the bands of over 140 Broadway shows. But we were in a Broadway show together. So he's one of my special guests. He's going to be singing his song from the Broadway show we did together. And I just wanted it to feel family, people that really cared about each other, who love making music together.
Well, and I can't imagine, I would assume probably the hardest part of doing something like that is picking the material, because there's just so much great stuff, and I'm sure everybody's coming from their own angle of what they love the best. And, I hope there's not been any like knockdown dragouts on.
No, I think we've done pretty well. But you're right. The challenge is to do the show. This is where your professionalism comes in, is that, we've got it. The club says your show has to be X number of minutes long, and saying, oh, but I love this song. Oh, but I love that song. Well, you can't sing every song ever written. So we must have a little discipline. Something's got to go.
Right. But with that music, you want to try, because it's also,
it's also good. We all love the tunes.
It's nostalgia, and that's why I celebrate folks like you from classic television and the stage, and you are our cherished American history of performers. And boy, you're a perfect example of someone like that. And I can tell just by talking to you, you're really easy to work with, so that's a plus, I'm sure.
I try.
But yeah, I'm sure you got to, hey, be firm at the same time, which I think you mentioned earlier.
My husband and I, Ben Lanzarone, who I said was, he's an ASCAP Award winning composer, and he and I have been musical partners for, over 45 years. We've been working together in addition to, we're married 45 years, and we've been working together since before that. And most of the time we have a really excellent working relationship, but there are times when I'll want it faster. He wants it slower, where I want to sing the song lower. He wants me to sing the song higher, so we always come to an accommodation where both of us are, unlike most negotiations where if you walk away and everybody's unhappy, you have a good deal. With Ben and me, if we both walk away happy, that's our goal. And so far, we've done a zillion shows together. We've done a million songs together. We really have an excellent working relationship. And I think he's brilliant. He's a brilliant arranger. He comes up with ideas for songs. And you go, where did that come from? He says, I don't know. And I go, you should hear we're going to be doing Old Lang Syne, Pat. You should hear the chords he came up with for Old Lang Syne. He had me on the floor. It's so gorgeous. Old Lang Syne, go no.
Yeah. With the melody, you can create your own chord passages with a melody that's so intact and so prominent. It's done all the time underneath different kind of chord passages, and suddenly you've got a whole new song.
It's a whole new song. And that's what we like to do musically. We like to take songs that people know and turn them into very creative, different ways of doing them. That's fun for us.
Well, again, it's great that you guys get along and you don't, come home from the rehearsals going, oh, how come the couch is made up like a bed?
That hasn't happened yet.
Good.
Keep your fingers crossed.
No, it's not going to. After this many years, I guarantee it won't.
Yeah, I think we're doing okay, and we produced a really fabulous daughter. Nika's outstanding, and she's married to a great guy, Dr. Dan Smith. He's a veterinarian in New York, if anybody needs a veterinarian. We're a team, and I think we do pretty well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Ilene, you have been just an awesome interview. I kind of expected that, and I want to thank you. And folks, it's December 28th, 9:30 p.m. at 54 Below.
Righto, and we're live streaming also. So if you want to tune in or whatever it is people do, that's available as well.
Well, that's important, and I will be including the links in your description on all of that, so that you can have this audience too.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, Pat. You have been an absolute pleasure to chat with. I wish you a beautiful holiday season full of health and happiness and good times with the people that you love.
Oh, thank you, Ilene. I appreciate you being here.
Okie dokie.
There you have it, another retro TV trivia in the books. You can follow the lovely Ilene Graff at ilenegraff.com to find out more about her singing workshops and upcoming performances. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this podcast and give it a positive rating and review, and don't forget to share it with your friends. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Golden Rage of TV, and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. This is Pat McCormack, and thanks for listening to Retro TV Trivia.